Okay, hello. My name is Darren. I'm a dad. I'm an airline pilot. I am a husband of a scientist, getting better and better at this whole streaming thing. Okay, hello. And I can hear myself. I do lives very sporadically. So if you want to know when I go live, the best way to figure it out is to use the notification bell and you will see when I go live. I am not a professional streamer, although it might appear that I have this awesome hanger behind me. It is all a facade. But I like to answer questions about aviation because I love aviation so much, and I like to help the next generation of pilots. Howdy, Jenny. Good afternoon. Good morning in Hawaii. Howdy. You have made it to 1QF. Welcome aboard. Hey, Mr. Mickey Mouse. Mr. Collingsworth. Hope your new child is doing well. Being a new parent is always fun. Um, I enjoy your pictures on Instagram, and it reminds me when my kids were smaller, and that as an adult, and even as an older kid, you're used to things. But when you have a newborn, everything is new, and it's a weird concept to think about. That as your child grows from a newborn to big kid, everything is new for a while, and there will come a day where stuff isn't new anymore, and it's like, oh, now they're just my kid. But anyway, congratulations. Uh, Jet, I think you asked that question to me. I think I responded to your comment. There are multiple avenues to get to where I am. There is no best way. There is no right way. There are multiple ways to get to where I am. Airlines in general do not care where you learn to fly. They want you to have FAA certificates. You have to meet the minimum requirements. The requirements are listed on the hiring page. Hello, person with Asian characters. I can't read your name. Howdy, Vic. Check ride coming up. Wish you luck. Nick, you got this. Again, my biggest tip for instrument check rides, um, when you're doing a non-precision approach, because doing an ILS is stupid easy. You get to minimums, you go around. But non-precision, when you go down, level off, it's easy to get nervous when you get to MDA and sink below MDA. And my trick was, I taught all my students the same trick. If MDA is 900 feet, go to like 910 and kind of level off, and then give a little bit of nose up trim so that you have to put not a lot, but a little bit of nose up trim. So you're slightly out of trim to the point where if you let go, you'll do a small climb. Why? Because if MDA is 900 feet and you're getting nervous under those foggles and you sink to not to 850 or 890, you bust. But if you go up from 900 feet to 915, you're fine. You're safe. Good luck to you. Howdy, Alex and Dominic. Hey, from Alaska. Mr. Richards, I was looking at weather this morning. My wife and I, we saw this video about Abu Dhabi and how awesome Abu Dhabi is. But I started looking at weather. In Alaska right now, Alaska this morning was warmer than it was in Dallas. Collinsworth, parenting is great as a blast. It is fun. Oh, naps are good too. You enjoy the nap times. Evening from Manchester, UK. I haven't been to UK in a while, and I don't miss it. Flying into Haneda, but out of Narita. I'm staying in a hotel in Narita, but we'll need to spend an afternoon there. Yeah, absolutely, dude. G-Man Airspace. Go to the oh dang it. They have a garden there. It's a temple, the biggest temple in Narita. Ask the hotel if you're staying even by the airport's kind of far away. But even from our crew hotel, it's like a 1.5 mile walk to this awesome temple. But most hotels will have if you stay in Narita, have a free bus service that goes from like the hotel to the mall or the hotel to the train station. And from either one of those, it's like a 20-minute walk to this temple. It's an amazing temple. It's an amazing complex to walk around. Or if you hate the cold like me, the mall is very nice as well. I do want to go to Switzerland. Howdy, Gavin. Hope you're doing well. On the 145, Airbus or Boeing is better. I think I prefer Airbus. It's more comfortable, but they both have their perks. Why don't some carriers allow their FOs to taxi? Because that's how they do it. I can't tell you. That's just how it is. Pensacola, Florida has just received more snow than I had this winter. That's crazy. I do miss Alaska. I do miss Alaska though from the Airbus. Hey Darren, do you know how bad it looks on your resume to have 2 or more failed check rides? I have PPL coming up, check ride coming up, and trying to tell myself failure's okay. Well, Mr. Coopwood, one, the most common check ride failures are private and CFI. Private because you're new, CFI because it's freaking hard. Um, Generally speaking, 3 or fewer is acceptable for airlines. More than 3 could be kind of risky. Now, on a check ride, especially for a PPL, understand you will make mistakes. You will make a mistake on your private check ride day that you have never made before. You'll do something boneheaded, and it's fine. As long as it's not unsafe, right? Check rides are never about being perfect, it's about being proficient. And a hard thing for people that are pilots to do, because a lot of us are type A, is to accept we made a mistake and keep moving. It's a hard skill to learn in the beginning of your career. I've been doing this 17 years. I know if I make a mistake during a check ride, well, crap, that happened. Keep flying. As long as the sim is moving, as long as the plane is flying, you're still in the game. So understand you'll make mistakes on check ride day, but between now and your check ride day, ask every single question. Do not be shy. When you're learning to fly, it is not the time to be shy or timid or be worried about being embarrassed by asking a question. Ask every single question. And you will think of questions when you are pouring your bowl of Captain Crunch in the morning for breakfast. Write the question down, make a voice memo, text your CFI, ask every question, and good luck to you. Loving your content. Do you ever fly the 777 domestically? Very rarely. I think I've done 2 domestic flights. Thank you, B22. Charging my EV at a fast charger in Bangor, Maine. Found the perfect entertainment while I wait. Hey, Mr. Bradshaw. Awesome. I took my family to test drive a EQS 450 SUV this morning. They didn't care for it. So, enjoy Maine while it is super cold there. Find it funny. I'm a CFI waiting for my student while watching your video on a Tesla screen. See. Yeah, that's another perk of Tesla. You can watch YouTube videos. I watched your Little Rock video. You should consider the Lyric V. I already have a GM product. The Lyric is pretty good. One thing I was talking to my wife this morning about, we love electric cars, right? And we like EV first companies, right? And even my Chevrolet Equinox EV, I love the car, is still old car mindset, and that I still have to carry a stupid key fob with me to drive my car. Um, I can't easily there's no dog mode. There's no keep on the climate mode while running a store. Lots of small things that I can even on my Chevy, I can't change the amperage the car charges at. It's still a lot of old school mindset, and that's the same thing in Mercedes. And the Lyric V, the Lyric, we'll see. I am eyeing the Vistic coming out next month, I think. When you bid your schedule, is it bidding for days off or routes? Flight 504, it's both, right? And you can bid in multiple different ways. So let's say I don't care where I fly. Let's say I only want to fly and I'm senior or mid-senior, mid-seniority. I'm not. I'm very junior. But let's say I was more senior than I am. So listen, I don't care where I fly, but I only want to work Monday through Thursday. I can tell the system, give me whatever you want, but Monday through Thursday only. Monday through Wednesday only. And it'll give me those trips if I can hold them, right? Or I can say, listen, I only want to work Monday through Wednesday, and I'm only going to Asia, nowhere else. If I'm that senior, I can get that. It's all on seniority. It's cold. You wouldn't like it, and neither is my EV. Yeah, cold. But you know what? Heated seats, heated steering wheel is nice. And again, in an EV, especially in a Tesla, being able to, in the cold or in the hot, when it's really hot or really cold, pull up to a store, press a button, say keep warm. Walk in the store, your car is locked and secured. The cameras are watching for any kind of damage going on to your car. You go shopping, you come back, you get in your car, and it's the same temperature. It's a very nice feature. Darren, my gas car has remote start, but you're burning lots of gas to do it. Hey, Darren from Tulsa, Oklahoma. Hey, Mr. OK Traveler. You should get a shirt that says "It is what it is." I should. The seniority stay the same if you move to a different city and fly out from there. My seniority number stays the same. I'm number 9,050, but my relative seniority could change. If I right now I'm in Dallas, it's somewhat ish senior-ish. If I were to go to Miami on the 777, I'd still be number 9,050, but I'd be a lot more senior because it's a lot more of a junior base on the 777. I'd be a line holder in the Miami easily. About to start flight school soon. Any recommendation on how to prepare? Books to read: TCZ, the Airplane Flying Handbook, and the Pilot's Handbook of Aeronautical Knowledge. I'll say them again in 2 minutes. Question. I was just watching your intro video, specifically the part where you used to fly 3-1 left without the approach given circling to 3-5 left localizer. Curious, and how would you brief that? So many years ago, I was in Dallas at DFW. Many years ago, we did not have an approach to 3-1 left in Dallas, and that's how we had to do it. So we would brief. I'm doing the localizer approach to 3-5 left. Their frequency is this. I'm going, and then it's a visual approach. But the MDA for the approach for circling is this altitude. Now, I plan on circling to 3-1 left when we see the runway, and I'll make a smooth turn from 3-5 left on to 3-1 left. That was kind of how we did the approach. Nowadays, we have an actual approach to it. But for any kind of circling approach, you do the approach that whatever it's based on, and then whatever you're circle to land something else. In reality, in my 17 years of being an airline pilot, I've only had a circle to land one time, and that was it. 3-5 left, 3-1 left. We had done circle to land in the sim, but not. It's very uncommon nowadays because circle to land used to be a lot more common when we only had land-based approaches. So meaning we had a VOR approach or a localizer approach or an NDB approach. Nowadays, we have RNAV, GPS. So with a GPS approach, there's nothing on the ground I need to do the approach. It's all satellite-based, right? So they can make an approach to any runway. And that's why a lot of places in the Caribbean used to have an NDB approach, and that's all they had because it costs money to do a localizer or anything else. Nowadays with RNAV is a primary approach to a lot of the places in the Caribbean. Just started flight school last week, and I assume this is the most boring, tedious part of the project. Hakeem, it is. Welcome aboard. Yeah, beginning, it's like, I want to go fly, and I'm stuck in a building. It's the exact same when you go to an airline. And it's crazy, right? As a pilot, we like to be outside airplanes. You get hired by an airline, and you're in an office building for weeks doing the basic, boring in-dock stuff. I love every single corner of aviation. I want to be a pilot, but currently a high school student, the costs are daunting, especially that I might have to add debt after college. Tips. Mr. Gallardo, it is very expensive. So,
guess what I found?
Where was that at?
On the table.
Oh, I didn't see it.
Huh.
It's my kids' grades. Okay. Are they good?
Yeah, they're great.
Okay. She took them out of her binder. As far as the cost, there are grants and scholarships. I'm a dad. There are grants and scholarships available. And you don't have to go to like the big name fancy website flight schools. The airlines do not care where you learn to fly. They want you to have the appropriate FAA certificates. Yeah, some of them aren't. Oh, I'm behind. It's about an 8-minute delay. Some of them aren't as much ground up AVs. Yeah. Especially no frunk. Like I told my wife the EQS this morning. Said yeah, the frunk doesn't open. And GM self-driving is very, 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 very good. Would you just brief down to final approach fix on the localizer and then say, well, it just be because on a localizer approach, it'd be the missed approach point or the visual descent point. But you only going down the circling minimums anyway. My most memorable flight and why is when I flew my wife and kid when I was a captain on the 175. I flew them from XNA to Dallas. Cape Town in the house. I want to go there one day. Besides pilot, what other cool jobs exist at the airlines? Can you talk about what network planners do? I have no idea what a network planner does. I know they plan where aircraft go, but being a dispatcher is a pretty cool job. Dispatcher's a good job, I think. People that work in a sim, so like, let's say, because you don't like many of the people that teach us in the sim, called sim pilots, they aren't actual airline pilots, and many of them have never actually flown the aircraft they're teaching on, but they are commercial pilots, and most of them have their CFIs. And so they might be retired airline pilots. They might be somebody that got their private instrument commercial and said, I'm not going to be an airline pilot. Did something else for a while. And then I said, you know what? I do like teaching. And now they're a SMP teaching me how to fly the 777. But there's lots of jobs in the airlines, though. As former Midwest Express passenger seats are you sitting in? You know, Paul, I think they are. But they're not a CRJ, though, because um, they're wider, and I have a set of 2 and a set of 3. I'm pretty sure they're from a DC-9 because they have a set of 3 also that are matching this. Have your kids and wife been on a flight? They have. They have, Jenny. Only once. Only my oldest, and my wife was a captain on the 175. How's the car shopping process going? What are you thinking about now? Say, oh, G-Man, I took my family this morning to drive the EQS 450, a CPO version. It was a super good deal. But I'm very meticulous with my cars. Like my Model X Plaid is in pristine condition. Like I know of this exactly 2 small scratches on the entire car. 2 small scratches, which most people will never even see. One in the very front of the car, and one is on the bottom portion of a door. That's all there is. I'm meticulous where I park and keep my car nice and clean. The CPO had visible scratches on it, and it wasn't very fast. And my family got inside of it. They're like, it's okay. Like they weren't wowed by the big screens and the interior at all. And it didn't have rear heated seats, and that's kind of weird in a $120,000 vehicle. So I think I'm gonna stick with the Lucid Air. Is probably be my next vehicle if I can find one that makes sense. You might need to change careers to start my training at 32 years old. Hey, Mr. Gallagher, dude, awesome. If I can help you at all, and you know I'm sincere in this, you can always email me. Airbus 220, I know nothing about it. Your dad must be a Delta or JetBlue. My friends that have flown it love it. The videos have been great and very motivational. Thank you very much, Mr. Eaglin. Hey, Darren, how come you're moving off Tesla? Seems right up your alley. Because I'm tired of the Falcon Wing doors. But my problem is the software in Teslas is so awesome. It is easy and complete. And it's hard finding another EV that is as complete software-wise as Tesla is. Like the cars aren't built as well as Mercedes, but the software and the EV experience is far above anyone else. And so I think the only thing it compares is really a Lucid. Scotland here. Don't come here. It's too cold. It is too cold there. 26 is not too late, Chris. Mr. Palma, I was 29 when I first started flying. You're good, man. You're fine at 26. Have you ever done a precision approach other than an ILS in your career? We don't have GCAs. I had them one PAR approach, believe it or not. 99% of the time, it's an ILS or RNAV. I had done one RNP into Denver, which is like an RNAV. But many years ago, we were flying to Abilene, Texas. And, I know Abilene, right? And the localizer was out of service for 35 left. And we were landing on 35 right. And 35 right, I think something was broken with that runway as well. And all they had was a PAR approach. And so we did a PAR, and that was pretty neat. Because not every approach that you see on an approach plate are authorized, or airlines don't authorize every approach that is out there for all their airframes, or even for the airline in general. Hey, Darren, hope all is well. Stuck on CFI with no money left. Tried getting the loan, but kept getting denied. Me and my family are nowhere near wealth to pay out of pocket. Any ideas? Let's go. Grants and scholarships, man. Grants and scholarships. You could also, if you don't have a CFI yet, I would say grants and scholarships, or if you can find a flight school and say, hey, if you can help me get my CFI, can I teach here for so many hours to pay you back for the CFI? So get training and sign a training contract saying, if you help me get my CFI here, I'll teach your school for 3 or 4 or 5 months, however long it is, the payback time. But grants and scholarships, AOPA, NGPA, LAPA, PAPA, and the books I mentioned earlier were the Pilot's Handbook of Aeronautical Knowledge, and the Airplane Flying Handbook. That person asked the question. Most definitely boring since I'm here in Norway. I'm doing the ground school now, and we'll start flight training once the weather. Yeah, weather in Norway. Let me see. I hope crazy cold right now. Ever try to swap with a flight with someone to fly to Australia or New Zealand as a pilot? Never. Got my CF double I last check ride for a while. Any tips for instrument instruction? For instrument instruction, when you're teaching, because remember when you were a instrument student and you had to wear those dang foggles, right? Or the blinders. Remember how long you sit under there and got a headache? Give your students a break every now and then. So when they're flying for 20 minutes, following a VOR and holding, say, all right, man. Tell you what, take a few minute break. I'll fly. Because one, you get to fly for a few minutes, and two, you get them you offload their brain. Learning instruments, it's you get brain fatigue. Uh, like when I go to the sim as an airline pilot, I'm there for 3 or 4 hours. When I leave the sim, I don't want to make any decisions. My brain is jelly. I am mentally worn out. I come home, I tell my family, I don't care what we do. I don't care what we eat. I'm done. So same for remember that for your students as well. Swiss across the pond, not at Delta or JetBlue. Oh, sorry, I assumed A220 was a U.S. airline. Hey, Darren, any opinion on some airlines using their bodies for long haul flights, USA, Europe flights? Yeah, Mr. Sharif. So, and this is a hot topic, right? Some places in Europe cannot support physically a 777 or can't support enough passengers in a 777 to make it justifiably to fly there. So let's say somewhere like Copenhagen, Denmark, there aren't enough people that want to fly from the US to Copenhagen every single day in a 777. And it doesn't make sense to fly it 3 times a week because now you might fly a 777 there on Monday. That's full to Copenhagen. You get there on Tuesday, right? But you can't fill it up again until Wednesday. So now you have the plane sitting there for 36 hours and paying for that crew to sit in hotel rooms for 36 hours, then fly back. But you could fly an Airbus there every single day and fill it up and have the plane fly the US to Copenhagen, land, that crew go to the hotel, next crew fly it back right away and do that swapping game. And maybe you have enough people to fly. And they won't be, from my understanding, it's not the way my airline is supposed to be flying them, it's not going to be 190 seats like we have on a normal 321. It'd be like 160 seats. Weight savings and more room for passengers. You know, some people have this weird mindset that they need to be in a 777 to fly overseas or 787 to fly overseas. Once you are in your seat, the seats are almost the exact same size. Your personal space, especially in the main cabin, is almost the same size. The overhead bins are proportional to how many people you have on board. The lavatories are almost all the same size. So people have this mindset they need to be on this giant airplane to fly overseas when it's not really true. So, as far as flying an airbody overseas, it helps for the long, thin routes. Like either we can offer service to Copenhagen, or you fly to London and connect on another carrier to go to Copenhagen. So if you want to do one flight on a narrow body, or one flight on a wide body, and then a narrow body there anyway. So that's my opinion on it. ID Buzz, Mr. Litberg. I like the ID Buzz. It's too slow for me. I like speed. I like acceleration. My Model X Plaid goes 0 to 60 in like 2.5 seconds. I don't do it all the time, but I like to know the power's there. Thank you for your transparency in your day-to-day as a pilot. Greatly appreciate it. I'm 31 years old and starting the process to change careers. Got my first class medical. Next is financing. So the hard part is the medical. Well, that's half the hard part. Next is financing. Only thing I'll caution there is when you get that term sheet for how much it's going to cost for this loan, make sure you can really afford it. And in my personal opinion, because I'm very frugal and I'm very cautious of my money, make sure you have a few months of savings to pay those payments in case something happens, right? In case you have delays in training or you finish all your ratings and you can't get a job right away. Make sure you have some savings that you don't ever touch for anything that you can use to pay those payments off. We ever switched back to Airbus? Yes. XLR, I have no desire to fly the XLR overseas. I love my Airbus, but I don't want to fly it overseas. Watching you from Delaware, you supported. Thank you, Mr. Huntley. Hey, Darren, the 777 handled the way differently than the 320. The 777 handles way differently than the Airbus 320. Now, but they're both fly by wire, and that. So in the last 7 years, I flew an MD-80, Airbus, and 777. The MD-80 and the 777 have yokes, but they fly entirely differently. The MD-80 had cables going from this yoke to all my, to my flight control surfaces. The 777 is fly by wire, right? So is the Airbus, and that when you fly a fly by wire airplane, you do less movement of the yoke or side stick on the Airbus than you do in a traditional yoke. You're telling the plane where you want to put it, not really what you want it to do. It's a very different way of thinking. Especially on the Airbus, it was tap to change roll, tap to change pitch. So you're just tapping and telling it more this way, more this way. You didn't really hold it like you would do in a normal yoke. Same for 777. I'm just doing this. It's not like a normal yoke. It's very different. Much less movement is needed on the 777 and on the Airbus versus a traditional airplane. Have that out. Thank you for the live. Hey, thank you for stopping by, QF. You're very welcome. Thank you for your support. Love your content. You have flown a few times with number 2. Yes. Does the chief pilot also fly the line? Have you flown with him? I have flown the chief pilot on my old airline. The chief pilots aren't always very senior. You think the name chief pilot means super senior pilot. No, it just means pilot that wants to work in the office. You can be a first officer and be a chief pilot. You can have been here for 3 or 4 years and be a chief pilot. So there's that. I have no desire to do that. Vistic should be available in like 2 months in terms of software. I think you prefer that over even your Tesla. 33-inch is 10 out of 10. It is, Nick. The Vistic is very appealing. I looked at the pricing on them, and it's typical Cadillac where it's like, here's the base model. Oh, you want any options? Is 20 grand more. Now, they're all going to have the same performance, but we'll see. Again, I love the Rivian, but I don't want to spend that much money for a car anymore. Have you ever flown as a non-rev on another airline, non-US based? Yes, I flew on Lufthansa one time to Frankfurt. I might go somewhere fun next month too. My wife and I were looking at Abu Dhabi this morning and how fun Abu Dhabi is. So I'm pondering flying to Abu Dhabi for like 2 days. We'll see. Hi.
Cheesecake.
What'd your mom say?
She said that's cute.
Yeah, that's fine.
Is it in the fridge?
Yes.
Okay.
When you have kids, you know one of them always asks a question. It's always what did the other parents say? What does it take for an airline to open up a new international route? Why do some take so long to start up? Well, that I don't know as directly, but I would assume they have to see demand. Like airlines have so much data, they know that if they have a lot of people flying from like Aguascalientes, Mexico to Tokyo. Okay, so we should have more flights from Aguascalientes to Dallas that get into Dallas in time to fly to Tokyo. And maybe they're flying Aguascalientes to Dallas to LA to Tokyo. Like, hey a minute, these people are doing these 3 flights to get to Tokyo because they can see and they're like connecting on a partner airline. We can do that directly. So because airlines are all part of an alliance, and so you might book a ticket from some obscure city in Norway to Roswell, New Mexico. You can't fly there direct. That's probably at least 3 flights, maybe even 4 flights. If airlines see enough people doing these points, maybe they can shorten that up. Maybe they'll fly not Roswell to Norway, but something like that. So the airlines see all the data. When the data makes enough sense, then they can open the route. But it takes a lot to open up a new route because they have to have personnel at the other end, landing rights, and all that other jazz. I flew to Kingston, Jamaica recently as a passenger, and while there, I noticed the runway 12, the heading was used pilot choose 112. Thought you always just add a 0 to a runway number. Can you explain? Hey, Rob Duth. Traditionally, it is. But there's also magnetic variation because runway numbers change, right? Every now and then, runway 11 becomes runway 12. But here's like in DFW is a great example for this. In DFW, we have 5 north-south runways. 18 right, 18 left, 17 right, 17 center, 17 left. They all have heading 176. So most of the time it matches up. Every now and then it does not match up. Also, it's Kingston or the other city in Jamaica. The runway there has so much rubber on it that when it's wet, the braking is like almost nil. It's the far end of the runway. There's 2 airports there. I flew to one of them. I flew to both of them, but one of them is way worse than the other. We're flying in there, and it was raining. And when we touched down, it was great braking, right? And the further down we went, toward like especially towards the departure end, it got really hairy very quickly. Do you ever 777 Miami to LAX? I have not. Would you ever want to? I wouldn't mind doing it. Would you ever want to fly an Airbus 380? If I had, I could. I would love to fly an Airbus 380. For a low-time pilot, what would be the best way to build time? CFI route or small 191 and 135 operation? So Aviator VTK, there's never a best way. What is a good way or a way? Again, it depends on if you can find a 91 or 135 that has safe equipment that you feel comfortable being at and treats you well and pays you well. Go for it. If you don't want a CFI, if you know you are not a teacher, Darren, I am not a teacher. Cool. Then you need to figure out before you even get your private, have an idea what you want to do to build time. Now, for some, the best way to build time might be to find a friend who also doesn't ever want to teach. You take that money that you would have spent on a CFI and go find some block time somewhere, 100 hours at a time. By 100 hours in a 172. If you and your buddy are real lightweight, maybe 152. But I can't fit in a 152. I weigh too much, even now. But maybe buying block time might be the best operation. But don't, especially in the 90s and early 2000s, there were some sketchy airlines out there that paid you like crap and had very sketchy equipment. And they'd be like, you're going to fly, you're flying from here to there. Yeah, it's some crappy weather, but you're getting up in the air and you got to figure it out. And people didn't always survive that way. So they're mostly flying checks and cargo. Could the FAA layoffs affect my job? With just delays. How many vacation days are you given? Can you carry over if not used? Hey, Mr. Advocate, where I am now. When you first start off here, you get 3 weeks vacation, 21 days. I think I'm up to now the 24 days vacation. There is no carryover. It's use it or lose it, and they assign it to you. If you don't bid it, they assign it to you. And me being so junior now on the 777, I have really crappy weeks vacation. I have a week in April. I need it for my kid's birthday. And then I have 2 weeks in February next year. I can't use those weeks, right? I can't go anywhere. My kids are in school. So next February 2026, where should I go for 2 weeks? When flying to Asia in the winter on 777, do you ever have to stop in Anchorage for fuel? Mr. Bridges, great question. No. But if you notice, the flights from the United States to Asia, they all fly over Anchorage. Reason being, the jet stream over the Pacific Ocean, like we're down lower, is crazy high. So if we were to fly LA to straight over to Narita, it would take a lot longer and burn a lot more fuel than if we just flew LA up over Anchorage, down by Russia to Asia. You think, well, that's a lot longer distance. It might be a little bit longer, but much, much less headwinds. Now, when we fly back from Asia, we absolutely go straight across the Pacific. It's almost a straight line. We have that giant tailwind pushing us behind. Came back from Incheon last week. We have like 180 knot tailwind. We were booking it across the ocean. But also, as we come down by Russia and over Japan to get to Incheon, we have 130 knots on the nose. So we're doing like 300 knots across the ground. Hey Darren, I'm thinking about becoming a pilot. I have a question. How long does it take to go from 0 to flying for regional? How much does it cost? Mr. Cruz, on average, 3 years. 3 years to go from 0 to a regional, on average. Cost, between $60 and $250,000. Giant cost separation depending on where you go and how long it takes you to train. I'm a CJ900 FO with 1900 hours. Do you think it would be more beneficial to upgrade? Riot 2K, I think it'd be beneficial to 1900 hours total time. So like 400 hours at the airline, or 1900 hours of CRJ time. That's a big difference. But if you have 1900 hours of CRJ time, I would say you can upgrade if it makes sense to you financially and for your family. But absolutely, you should have been at NGPA this year. Did you go to NGPA this year? What about Women in Aviation coming up? Where are you going to be in August? You going to OBAP in August? That's where you should start. If you are a senior FO right now and you can bid your schedule, well, yeah, I would. That's a hard pick to do. How do you know about any cargo on board? Do you know the basic like weight or hazmat, or do you know exactly what it is? Mr. Littberg, we know about all hazmat on board. Now, I'll carry a lot of fish. I carry a lot of bananas. I carry a lot of fruits and vegetables. All I know is weight. I know how much it all weighs. But any hazmat, we absolutely know where it is and how much we have on board. We have all the details about it. Will you retire? Will current AA number 1 retire before number 2 guy? Yes. I believe number 1 retires in a few months. So number 2 will be number 1 for over a year. And one of those Jamaica runways ends in the ocean. It does. Do 777 pilots at your airline base bid for domestic or international schedules? It's almost always. It depends. Depends on the month. Some months, it depends how the airline routes the airplanes. Some months I have seen where they have Dallas to Miami flights for 3 days or 4 days. You fly Dallas to Miami, you overnight. Miami back to Dallas, Dallas back to Miami. Then Miami back to Dallas, and you're done. So it depends. Rob, you're very welcome. Would you commute for one single day to fly into some exotic spot? No. I'm not a commuter. Because here's the reason why. Because most of our overnights are 24 hours long. And in that 24 hours, I have to sleep twice. So that's a 4-hour nap on the arrival and 8 hours before I leave. That's 12 hours. Plus 2 hours to get ready, right? So now I'm up to 14 hours. So I have about 10 hours of free time. I can just non-rev there instead. When you shoot the ILS and don't have glide slope, when do you get to the certain fix? I know some ILS, they have 2 different MDAs for localizer and without. So if we're doing an ILS glide slope unavailable, then typically there's only one MDA. Unless we have if you have an RNAV, or you can somehow identify another fix. Let's say we're going in and, all right. This is some big tower. Oh, crap. All right. My arms are runway. This is a tower. And we're flying it. I'm going to spill my Coke. 1 second. All right. This is the runway surface. There's a tower. And they say if you can't identify this fix called Bombic, then you can only go down to here. But if you can identify Bombic, you can go down to here. So you be a little bit lower, you still avoid the tower. That's all. So if you can't identify Bombic, you stay here. You can identify Bombic, and Bombic might be a radial DME fix. It might be a RNAV fix. It's some kind of fix. And it's all based on this silly tower before the runway. So that's why there might be 2 different MDAs. Or it might even be a different localizer, a different barrel setting, right? If you're flying to some airport and the local altimeter isn't available, but the altimeter from an airport 15 miles away is saying, no, listen, you're going to land at this airport, but you can't get this altimeter, but you can get the one from over there. Okay, you can land, you can come and approach, but you can only go down to here. If you can get the local altimeter, you can go down to here. It's that kind of thing. Hope that makes sense. Do you know if you're planning to attend the auto show in Dallas? Just left and it was disappointing. Mr. Castillo, we were just in Dallas. We talked about it. It's been the Dallas auto show's always been disappointing. Sorry, it was a bad experience. You practice for winds here or extreme crosswinds like in England during check rides on the sim. We do practice for starts at 5, not 6. Okay. I have a daddy-daughter dance today. 5. All right. We do practice for wind shear all the time. And extreme crosswinds, we do like 20 knot crosswinds in the sim, but nothing more than that. Darren, is it worth it to go to college to get a mechanical engineering degree? I want to be an airline pilot, but my parents pushed me to get a backup looking for some advice. ZX, if you enjoy mechanical engineering, absolutely go for it. Great backup career. Now, I'm a dad. Well, I would tell you, if you were my kid, I'd say, listen, you need to have some kind of backup plan that you can make money at and survive and pay all your bills. I don't want you living in my house when you're 25 years old. Or get a college degree and have something in that degree you enjoy doing, or at least like enough to do that you can survive. So you're not living on my couch when you're 25 years old. Right? I love what I do. But let's be honest, the airline hiring and airlines in general are very cyclical. They hire till they fire. They hire till they furlough. And they furlough until they hire. And you don't know where you're going to be on this wave of hiring until you're already in it. And again, imagine the people that got hired by United Airlines, because that happened. That's the example. United Airlines in March of 2020. These pilots quit their old job, got hired by United in March of 2020. And United's like, sorry guys and gals, we can't hire you. This COVID thing, we're shutting down. What are they gonna do? Now, my airline fared a little bit better in March 2020. They did have new hire classes, and they said, hey, guys and gals, listen, you are all hired. You are all getting a paycheck. You will all have health insurance, but you're not gonna fly right away. Scary times. With a love of gambling, have you ever traveled internationally to gamble? Oh, I haven't. You know what I've never shown you guys? Maybe I have. You've watched me long enough. I have a slot machine right here. It's behind this green screen. I have never gambled in a foreign country because the currency is too weird. Have you flown to Italy? I have. I have flown to Italy. So why haven't you flown? I have flown to Italy, G-Man. I've flown to Rome twice. Do cargo and passenger airlines follow the same safety operational regulations? No. Cargo pilots have a different set of rest rules than airline pilots do. I have flown to Paris, but not Frankfurt. Started my PPL pre-solo. What are some of your favorite and least favorite moments of my early flying? I hated how hot it was in Texas. Yeah, I hate cold. It was freaking hot and thermally. I hated all the ground school stuff and being in the building all day long. But I loved, I love doing my solo work. Yeah, the solo stuff, and I hated how hot it was. Hey, Mr. Matlock. Does your family sometimes like when you pick up trips so they have the house to themselves? CB3, absolutely. My wife, when I'm home for too many days, she gets concerned. And not for because I'm going crazy, because she knows that I'm going to go crazy if I'm home too long. Like, again, I have a lot of vacation in March, and we have a family vacation set up, but I have a whole other week where I need to do something because my wife works from home. And even when I don't have vacation, when I'm on reserve and they don't, I think it was September, I flew 2 trips. I annoyed my wife too much. Again, we've been together almost 20 years. Well, we've been together over 20 years, but we've been married almost 20 years. We love each other, but we also like time apart too. 19 hours total time, 1,000 hours on the CRJ 900. I'm from Canada. Canadian. Tim Hortons. Could upgrade right now. Go to the company. So Canada's very different than the United States. Got that Tim Hortons up there. You got the real good maple donuts too. The maple donuts there are no joke. Hmm. Has Air Canada fixed their pay yet? I think they did. That's a tough choice. Again, I'm a quality of life person there, buddy. Yeah, I would. If Air Canada is where you want to be eventually, I would work on getting hired there personally, and maybe bypassing flow. So that's to become a 777 pilot from being an Airbus pilot. Was it like a selection process? You just put a request in to change types. Max, great question. At most airlines, they have a vacancy bid. The airline says, "Hey," because people retire and quit, mostly retire at the majors, and so hey, we have 15 openings coming up on the 777 in Dallas. Who wants to do it? And so I put my request in, and they go down the list of all the pilots that want to do it, and they have 15 openings. So they start at the very top seniority, and they go down. And if you make the cut, they train you for free. Pick your hell, Community Reserve Junior, 737 FO in LaGuardia, or Senior Captain on 777 in Charlotte, and you're forced to drink Dunkin' and drive a gas car the rest of your career. Mr. Herrick! That's horrible, man. Damn it. Oof, darn it. I would. I would bid Senior Captain on a 777 in Charlotte, purposely bust my check ride to stay 777 FO in Dallas. Hey, Darren, what are your thoughts on Middle Eastern carriers like Emirates? I'm an aspiring pilot from India starting next year. I really like the one to fly the 380 one day. I know nothing about Emirates except for they pay a lot of money and they control your life. And they don't treat you very well as a pilot. But good luck to you. How different are airspaces around all over the world? I'm from Vancouver, Canada, and I have my PPL. And from my CPL, my school hasn't brought back the US flight check since COVID. It is very different as far as sometimes they have different speed limits. And different transition altitudes and different phraseology. Over the course of your life so far, are you net positive in the casino? Absolutely not. Hold on. Oh wow. I lost my spot. Just 1 second. Oh, I'm net negative in a casino. Is the FO captain dynamic in the majors different than the regional? In the regionals, it's the dynamic is one often very mentor mentee, but you must fly with some captains that are more senior than you that have more total time. At least in the 777, we're very equal. Like, there's less mentor mentee stuff on the 777. It is a very different airline than the Narrowbodies. On the Airbus, even on the Airbus, I had captains that were junior to me. The biggest discrepancy I had as an FO on the Airbus, the captain was like 2,500 numbers junior to me, and I had way more time on the Airbus than they did. But even at the majors, it's more of a we're in this together versus captain FO kind of thing. Where are you going next? London. Love the vlogs. Don't say where I'm going next, but thank you. Not London. Okay, London. Greetings from the UK, Darren. You said recently that you split a trip with the captain. He did the takeoff and you did landing. Yes. Somewhere that the same pilot had to do both. Was that a UK thing or have the rules changed? It depends on just for example, when I was brand new on the 777, if we're flying to London, and again I have 11,000 hours in the air pilot time, but maybe I only had 30 hours in the 777. Okay, if we're flying to London and there's a 40-knot crosswind, direct crosswind, it's probably gonna be a captain landing, right? Because I have very little time on the 777. But nowadays, I'm allowed to do anything I want. Different auto land. An auto land is always captain only. But as far as splitting the leg from Korea, he offered it to me because we deadheaded into it wasn't Korea, it was Japan. We both deadheaded into Japan. So it's like, Darren, one of us takes off, one of us lands. That way we both get to fly. I have never done a charter flight at my airline. You have arrived. Mr. Very, very funny. Classic pilot finding a way out when there wasn't one. I can always find a way out, Mr. Herrick. It was funny. So many months ago, me and Mr. Herrick were in London at the same time. He also works for my airline. And we had a great time. Like, just hanging out with a bunch of flight attendants. Awesome time. I have not had that experience since. Um, I think it's because Mr. Herrick is based at a different base than I am, and that base has a lot more junior flight attendants that are more social. Is maybe the proper word. Where I'm based, a lot more senior flight attendants. Like, been here 30 years, 40 years. Very different. Different mindsets. Speaking of premium, flying in months where you flew most of the time worth it for you? Yes. Especially, picking up premium flying, one, I'm very junior. Premium means I get paid time and a half. It's very hard for me to get premium. So when I get it, it's awesome. And it's life-changing, right? If I have a week off, okay, week off work, if I pick up a time and a half trip to fly to London and back, that pays, back in the napkin math, $9,000. To make $9,000 over 3 days, and I'm only gone for about 46 hours from home. That's a life-changing thing. And I don't say this to brag by any means. If you watch my videos, I'm not one to brag. But if my family wants to go on an amazing vacation, okay, I go pick up a premium trip for 3 days. Come back, the entire vacation is paid for in 3 days. Herrick, Darren's response, it was top notch. Darren, love your channel. Thanks for your transparency always. Question, roughly how much of your check goes to retirement, taxes, percentage-wise, no specific numbers? I'll give people all numbers all the time. Right now, I think I put in 9% of my income straight into my 401k. And then I always top out. Yes.
Did you see my message?
Yeah, 5 o'clock.
Okay.
Yeah. 9% into my 401k. And then taxes, it's a lot. I haven't done my taxes this year on purpose. But I paid more in taxes last year than I made annually for my first 10 years of flying, numbers wise. Have you ever had to discontinue a check ride? Did that this week, and I'm stressing that about still only doing partway through. I have not. How do you feel about the $1,500 rule? You change it back to like it was when you were hired. I would, Mr. Collingsworth. The $1,500 rule, it's an arbitrary number. I think it's put up there so that they figure by this point, if you have flown this much, you have been scared enough and seen enough crap that hopefully you can make good aviation decisions. But let's be honest here, right? Let's say you're the kid of a rich parents. And these parents are like, okay, son, daughter, you an airline pilot? Okay, you'll get your ratings, but we're not paying for your CFI. When you get your commercial rating, we're just gonna get you a nice Cirrus. And they buy their kid a Cirrus. Or they rent a Cirrus for their kid. And their kid flies around Kansas and Nebraska on autopilot, listening to XM radio, making TikToks, watching Netflix for $1,300. They met the $1,500 requirement. Did they earn anything? No. Now, even if you get the $1,500, you still have to make the correct aeronautical decision making. You have to have enough ADM, aeronautical decision making, and enough skills to pass the airline check ride, right? And I'm going to tiptoe into some dangerous space here. Airline check rides, a bar is set. The FAA monitors airlines and their training departments. You have to meet the bar or higher. No one ever gets a pass on a check ride because you look a certain way. I'll just say that much. Mr. Collingsworth was the last one. What would be one destination that you'd want to fly that you haven't been to yet? Oh, Shanghai, China, Hong Kong, anywhere in Australia, Cape Town, South Africa. Would you ever go to GA91 or GIV? I feel like those guys have privileged work schedule. I would never want to do that stuff ever. It's not for me. Just because of me? It is because of you. Have you taken down some of your recent lives? Yes. Um, Sometimes in a live, I say something that can be misconstrued. I have to be very careful what I say because even though I don't ever say who I work for, people know who I work for. So if I'm ever on camera and I say, "Listen, Sprite Airlines is crap." Can you see? You can't even see my can because it's green. That's hilarious. Anyway, this is a Sprite can. If I say Sprite Airlines, da 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 da, I could get in trouble. So, uh, no flights to Dublin planned, but our Dublin flights do start up in the next month. But I'm on reserve. Hey, Darren, does that landing you did in Japan count as one of my landings required? It does, AMC, and I logged it on the computer. So when I actually do a landing, I think I've done 30 of them now in 777. One of the last things I do before leaving the airplane is I tell the computer on the plane I did the landing, and the computer tells the airline and gets recorded into my file. Now, if I forget to do this, I can still do it later on. When she flew 787 from Cape Town, and the pilot said that she wouldn't recommend 787 for anyone who can't fit in their crew rest. Do you get to check out the plane before you bid them? No, but they must have been a big person because the crew rest area is just the same size as my 777. It's a pretty big area up there. Favorite thing about the 777? My favorite thing about the 777 is the 777-300 and the crew rest area, or that it's a multi-pilot crew. So, because to fly from point A to point B in any airplane is A to B, right? A to B. Well, if it's a two-pilot plane, then the workload is this much. But you add a third pilot and a fourth pilot, and the workload goes down tremendously. Even though we all four don't fly the plane at the same time, the workload leaving getting the plane off the gate and in the air takes a lot. So the multi-pilot crew helps quite a bit. Again, I was very concerned about being on 777 initially about how long the flights were and if I would be up to snuff on how tired I'd be. The flights aren't crazy. They're long flights. Like, flying to Korea takes 15 hours. And that's gate to gate. So like 14 hours of airtime, maybe-ish. Anyways, I'm never in the pilot seat for more than 3.5 to maybe 4 hours at a time. So it's kind of nice to know that I fly for 3.5 to 4 hours. Then I get a 4-hour break. And then I'll get to fly again, right? And I'm always paid the whole amount of time. Almost done with the live. How long have I been live for? I have no idea. There's no timer on this one, is there? There is. Yeah, almost an hour. My voice is going out. I've been phone with someone that. Oh wait, I will fly 787 at some point in my career. Checks. Yes. I've been phone with someone that has previously flown for a European company. I have, Max. When I was a captain in my regional, I flew with the guy that was from the UK. He's here. He flew the Airbus from some European airline. I have no idea how he did it from there to here though. Almost done with the live. Can you talk to a pilot recruiter at a major airline to see if you have any disqualifying history before trying to get all your ratings to find a CGO? Mr. Torella, Chris Torella, yes. By going to job fairs. You can go to an aviation convention like NGPA this past in Palm Springs, or Women in Aviation, or OBAP, or you can go to any airline convention, aviation convention, as a person that has never touched an airplane, and go into their job fairs and talk to recruiters. Absolutely. How fast to get to 777, assuming it's your second career, depends on the airline and how things are going. It depends. You can get to it in 3 years. It might take you 10 years. Thank you, Mr. Hellings. Do you think that has helped with dealing with jet lag and sleeping patterns? No, I think my weight loss has helped me most with my blood pressure has gone down quite a bit. But sleeping patterns, no, not really. Your background looks amazing. How you make it look so good? Because of your support. By you guys clicking and watching my videos, I get paid by YouTube to buy this awesome green screen behind me. That's why you can't see this can of Coke. And so I bought this green screen, and I pay a company online for pictures behind me. Thank you, Mr. Collinsworth. Do you get paid by airtime or from initial movement to final shutdown? It's block time or better. The airline says it takes 16 hours to go from Dallas to Korea. If I get there from gate to gate in 13 hours, I get paid 16 hours. If I get there in 18 hours, I get paid 18 hours. I thought your favorite thing about the 777 was the shoulder heat. I do like the shoulder heat, though, Mr. Schwartz. Continuing this 15-hour discussion, do airlines care how you got those hours? They do not care. They don't care. Hey, Tardy. Sorry you're late. Haha, but I'm almost done. Do you know what your next flight is? I do, but I don't tell people online because 99.9% of people online are awesome people, but 1% or 1.1% are horrible people that will do unnecessary things. How do you stay awesome? One, I'm very average. I'm exceedingly average, but treat every person better than you want to be treated. Give everyone the benefit of the doubt. And every day, and it sounds cliche, but every day, try to make someone else's day better. Try to make someone else's day, even people you don't even freaking know. Even if you have a meet in the game or whatever, I say hi to everybody. Say hi to everybody. How you doing? And I see people get taken aback by this because a common thing in the world is, good afternoon, how are you today? I'm not doing too bad today. How about you? Or I say, I'm old and cold and tired. How about you? And truly mean, how are they? This always try to make someone else's day better. Great time for Australia. You're welcome, Mr. Hansen, but I'm almost done. Any thoughts on the pilot shortage? True or myth? It is a shortage of pilots willing to do this job. This job is not for everybody, right? It takes a lot to get to an airline. And some people I learned to fly with back in 2007 can't do it anymore for multiple reasons. So, and it takes a lot to get here. Money and health, right? But yeah, there's some of a shortage. Grice, those are not common type ratings in the United States. FAA affect pilots only by delays. Mr. Griffin, you're very welcome. Last one is Davza. 30 landings is very low on a 777, but understand, as a 777 pilot, I only fly 4 trips a month. 4 trips a month. So even over the course of a year, I might have, call it 9, I could in theory have 900 hours on a 777, but only 48 landings. So, longer flights. And with that, I know nothing about 787, Anthony. With that, I'm going to be done. I'm over an hour. Thank you for your support. My name is Darren. I'm a dad. I'm an airline pilot. I am a husband of a scientist. I put videos up about once a week, at least, hopefully on average, about aviation, normally on Thursdays. Every now and then I put a random video up on a Tuesday or Wednesday about something. If you don't mind, click subscribe. It costs you nothing. It helps me a ton. Have a great day. And as always, thank you for stopping by. Bye.